Good morning. I'm State Representative Daryl Metcalfe, and we are here today at the Pennsylvania Capitol, actually in the Ryan office building, in the atrium of the Ryan office building. I've never done a press conference here, but it is an area that is controlled by the House of Representatives and by the Republican caucus here in this area. So it's an area that we could determine that we could actually move forward with our press conference without the interference of the Wolf administration or any attempts by them to shut it down, as they've tried to do to our economy and to people's lives over the last 7 months. Today's press conference, we have several speakers that are experts in their fields that you're going to be hearing from, and today's press conference is on the issue of vaccines and what potentially could be a mandatory vaccine if some people would get their way in the wake of the COVID crisis. We've seen speculation and we've seen conversations that have been occurring in professional publications, in the marketplace, on the street, in the halls of capitals and conference rooms around the nation related to the potential vaccine for COVID-19 and whether or not that would be something that would be mandated. I'm here today to tell the people of Pennsylvania, the citizens of Pennsylvania, and to speak to the citizens of the United States of America, to call upon them to stand up for their rights, to stand up for their freedom, and to let them know that there are many of us who will be fighting for them and standing with them to ensure that no medical procedure is going to be forced upon them without their approval of it, without their choice in accepting it and believing that it's in their best interest to have that procedure. And don't think that an injection of some substance into your body is not a procedure. That is a medical procedure, and one that should only be accepted when the individual chooses to have it. We are here today to talk about that potential mandate, to talk about the vaccines that are being discussed. I am not someone who believes that we shouldn't ever get a vaccine. I've had many of them personally throughout my life as a U.S. Army soldier. I was forced to receive some of those vaccines. In fact, had a very negative side effect reaction from one of those vaccines that knocked me on my back with a fever for a short time. So many other people have had much worse adverse reactions to vaccines. That's why there's been a process set up by the federal government when they gave vaccine manufacturers immunity from liability back in 1986. Since that time, there's been a vaccine court that people have went to when they've had any vaccine injury. And there's been billions of dollars paid out to that, to individuals, to individuals' families who've had a death because of a vaccine injury. Many other people that have been disabled because of vaccine injuries, and billions of dollars have been paid out to them because of it. So the public needs to be aware that there are risks involved with getting a vaccine. There are certain risks with COVID-19, but there are also risks with a vaccine. And a free people have to be able to decide what the risk is versus the reward, what risk they're willing to deal with, and whether or not they would want to receive that vaccine or not. In the U.S. Constitution, we read in Article 9, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. That is a disclaimer within the Bill of Rights, that not all of our rights were spelled out in the Bill of Rights within the Constitution. Not all of our God-given rights are detailed, but that doesn't mean that we sacrifice those rights, that we lose those rights. And a very basic right of every human being is to decide what will be done to their person. In Article 1, Section 1, of the Pennsylvania Constitution, that's titled Inherent Rights of Mankind, we read, all men are born equally free and independent and have certain inherent and indefeasible rights, among which are those of enjoying and defending life and liberty, of acquiring, possessing, and protecting property and reputation, and of pursuing their own happiness. Of enjoying and defending life, of pursuing their own happiness. It is a right of every citizen to decide what medical procedure they will accept or what medical procedure they will reject or refuse. Government policies, as we move forward in the wake of COVID-19, government policies must ensure that no level of government is allowed to mandate that a citizen receive a vaccine that they otherwise would not choose to receive. If we want the vaccine, we have the right to accept it. If we don't want it, we have the right to reject it. And our government policies moving forward need to make sure that that doesn't happen at any level of government, where we've seen local governments trying to impose mask mandates and other mandates. We need to ensure that local governments, all levels of government, are not going to attempt to do that. And we as a state government need to ensure that our federal government are going to be limited as they are designed to be limited by the U.S. Constitution and aren't going to attempt to force any of these mandates upon us. We also, as a government, need to ensure that we have policies in place to make sure that there's no discrimination allowed in the marketplace, that no vendor, that no provider of services or products or goods that are needed by the public, in order to make those exchanges in the marketplace, we need to ensure that no one in the marketplace is allowed to discriminate against somebody because they choose not to receive a vaccine.